Hey you guys, so welcome to another weekly astrology and tarot forecast from yours truly, Sacred Goddess 1111, and this is for the week of May 11th to May 17th, Monday through Sunday. So this week is really exciting, you guys, because we have a lot of retrogrades, a lot of planetary retrogrades going on, and some really interesting astrological shifts. So we talked about last week the full moon in Scorpio, and that reached its height this past not weekend, this even though the effects definitely could still be effect this throughout the weekend. I believe the full moon was on Tuesday and Wednesday, last Tuesday and Wednesday. So that kind of brought up a lot of emotions and a lot of like old unprocessed stuff, a lot of shadow work that we all may have not done up until that point, or it just wasn't even in our subconscious or our conscious mind, at least, quite yet. And so a lot of you may have experienced that all coming to the surface. If you would like to go back and look at the last week's reading, or even the previous week, I think you guys will see like a buildup, and that can maybe help you understand your emotional progress, your emotional trajectory, and just your growth over these past few weeks, and kind of just like see, once you start following the planets and the stars, you start to see this arc and this flow, and once you're more aware of it, you can kind of brace yourself for it and prepare for it, and console yourself about things that you may have been feeling and things that may have been going on. I also did a really awesome, fun podcast with one of my close friends. She has the podcast Living Intuitively. It's also her Instagram and her YouTube channel, Living Intuitively. That's just the name, Living Intuitively. Intuitive Living, excuse me. And her name is Elisa, and you can also find all the information for the podcast on her own Instagram, which is Hello, This is Elisa. I will put the links down to the podcast. It's on Spotify and Apple in the descriptions if you want to check it out. It was really, really powerful. We did a full moon reading, and we just talked about a lot of basically themes coming up for the Scorpio full moon, as well as just what's going on with the collective right now. So that's something really cool and supplementary to check out. The past one or two YouTube videos of mine, plus that podcast, which I really think will help you guys if you get all of those together. It'll give you a more well-rounded picture of everything that's been going on, because I may reference some things today, some astrological happenings I may not be able to go into depth into today, but may still be really important for you to learn about and go back and get a more in-depth analysis and feel for those energies. So last week's Scorpio full moon brought everything to the surface. Don't be surprised if you had some maybe crazy emotional feelings within yourself or with your significant others or your family. It tends to bring up those like deep old wounds and those things that are kind of hiding under the surface, and blows them up to bigger proportions. And hopefully that all went well for you guys, but if you still aren't feeling the best about it, hopefully this video can help you make a little more sense about it all, and just know that everything is always in divine timing, and we're just all avatars here. We're all characters that are subject to these energies. We all have our unique birth charts. No one person is going to react the same way as any other unique individual, and so we're all experiencing these shifts in our own ways, but there are definite themes, and some of us may be dealing with it in some ways and in other ways, but we definitely all can feel these collective energies going on right now, whether we're experiencing it this way or that way. So in the tarot reading today, we'll see what comes up for the collective. So I always channel for whoever is watching. So whoever is watching this will be for you. And aside from that full moon that pulled everything up last week, we also last week had a node shift. So the nodes shifted from Cancer Capricorn to Gemini Sagittarius. And that is so, so important because Cancer and Capricorn are these more sort of serious energy. Capricorn's very serious, and Cancer is very emotional, and it's very focused on like family and like our deeper emotions, and kind of like treading a little more lightly because those signs are definitely a lot more sensitive. Whereas the Gemini, Sagittarius energies are really not very overly sensitive. They're very just like out there and big and just like very go big or go home. And so over the next few years, it's really gonna be affecting us a lot. Both of those signs also are huge truth tellers, and that's why I'm a Gemini, so that's why I'm saying that's why we aren't maybe that sensitive. And we actually, Geminis and Sagittarians, we are those type of people where we like brutal honesty. If someone is brutally honest with us, we're like, thank you. Like, thank God someone cares about me, because no one else was going to tell me this. What, you think my feelings are going to be hurt? You think I'm that weak? My feelings are hurt that easily? Like, that's just, and so that's the energy that's going to be in the air, is feeling like more emboldened to say things, and less afraid to hurt people's feelings, because we feel like the truth is honestly the best compliment you can give someone, even if it's maybe not meant as a compliment for them in that moment, but it's a compliment to their soul, that their soul can handle that, and that you want to give them that gift of truth that can change their life, change the world, change society. And yeah, it's also, it's really great for speaking the truth. It's also really great for receiving the truth. Sagittarians and Geminis love to learn, even if it's really hard lessons. Sometimes we even crave lessons the hard way, because we know that that's how a lot of times as human beings we learn the best, is through learning things the hard way. When we learn things the easy way, sometimes it just doesn't solidify as much. And we come down to this earth to learn lessons, and a lot of times those lessons are learned through challenges and obstacles. So that's why a lot of spiritual teachings always say to, be really grateful for your challenges and your obstacles. So truth is really going to get out there, you guys, one way or another. We're going to see a huge truth awakening in the collective, as far as like the media, politics, culture, the environment, feminine and masculine energies, and relationship dynamics, family dynamics. We're going to see huge honesty around that, and no holding back around that anymore. No treading lightly with those themes anymore. And we're also going to see that with people wanting to embrace that and seeking that out more, as well as it just coming to the surface automatically. So get prepared for that. That started last week, so it's going to continue to build more and more, and especially going to be really heightened during these eclipses that we're going to have this summer, later this summer, and later on in the year. And then we also have a Saturn retrograde that happened on May 10th, so just yesterday, and it's a Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. So Saturn is a very serious planet. It's all about what's your karma? Are you working on your karma? What are you doing to fix your karma? And what are you doing for your responsibilities in life? How are you managing your money, your time, your routines, your social responsibility, your responsibility to family, yourself, your significant other, like really serious, responsibilities of like, I agreed to be in this, so I know what my part of that is. It can't all just be fun and sunshine and rainbows all the time. It has to sometimes be serious, and sometimes we have to take responsibility for different areas of our lives, or even, people. And so that's in Aquarius. So Aquarius is an air sign. So we're going to be in a more it's going to be in a very airy way. We're going to be in our minds thinking about all these things. So this isn't a great time. Saturn retrograde isn't a great time to form new habits and routines. It's a really great time to more so just reflect and to take those lessons forward once we're out of the retrograde, or who knows, maybe once the planets shift a little bit more, you'll have the information, you'll be ready to move forward. And then tomorrow, May 12th, Venus goes retrograde into Gemini. And I talked about that a lot last week, so I won't go too much into it today. But Venus rules love, beauty, fertility, money, and the home. And so Gemini, also being an air sign, with this planet being in retrograde in Gemini, we're going to be thinking a lot Aquarius is more about like fixed air energy. So it's like, what can I do to set this in stone? What can I do to know my unifying theory of everything? And Gemini is very about like new information, the most groundbreaking information. Geminis tend to know things they say before other signs do, because we're always channeling and pulling things from the ether of what is the most breaking new information. So with this being in our love and fertility and home and money planet, that could mean we may be receiving a lot of really quick, sudden bursts of insight and new ideas in our love life, or our concepts of beauty and fertility and home and money. And more so, not like money in this like sort of like strict sort of Saturn Capricorn way, more money in like the way of like abundance and the fertility of how we draw money towards ourselves, not necessarily how we go out and get it, but how do we draw money towards ourselves and how do we spend it around us. Very feminine way of looking at money versus the more masculine go out and get. And once again, like I say in all my videos, we all have feminine and masculine. They're just energies. So women have feminine and masculine, men have feminine and masculine. End of story. All right. So yeah, and then this also could make relationships maybe feel a little unstable right now, because like every day is like new information, new thought, new feeling. As a triple Gemini, I can tell you guys this from personal firsthand experience, that it's best just to ride those waves out and don't make any too concrete decisions until probably this retrograde season is over in those areas of your life. Love, fertility, family, home, money, the attraction of money and abundance, until this retrograde is over on June 24th. So that'll be a better time to really know. So maybe until June 24th, we can just use this time to reflect as we go through our ups and downs and our new insights and our new ideas. We can, feeling how we flip this way and then how we flip this way so easily, what causes that, why. We can learn more about ourselves and what we want from these areas of our lives, and then make more of a firm decision moving forward after June 24th. And then what else? May 14th, which is a little later in the week, we have Jupiter going retrograde and also Capricorn. So once again, Capricorn is that stern, serious, where's your discipline at? Where's your self-will at? Where's your work ethic at? How are you taking care of your karmas and your responsibilities here on earth that you yourself did or said that you wanted? How are you taking care of those? And so Jupiter is the planet of spiritual expansion. It rules Sagittarius. So once again, Sagittarius loves to learn. So this will be a really great time to learn about the spiritual dimensions of how we deal with karma, how we deal with responsibility, and really like what we feel our duty is to the world right now, as our world and our collective is honestly, as you guys know, going through a absolutely humongous shift right now that has not been seen for thousands and thousands of years, this type of shift in humanity. And I mean, honestly, ever. This is the first time ever that so many people around the globe have awakened at the same time and around the same ideas and topics. And everyone just kind of like slowly all coming into this truth and realizations together. So it's a really powerful time, and we all have our role to play. So this next week is going to be, and over the course of the summer, while we have these retrogrades early summer, it's going to be a really big time to receive new insights and receive new information and reevaluate all of these different things. One last thing before we get to the tarot reading. I think that was it, actually. Yeah, so we have Pluto. Oh, that's the last one. Pluto retrograde, also in Capricorn. So I thought I'd already talked about that one. That's why I said also Capricorn earlier. Sorry, guys. It's full moon in Scorpio was last week. The nodes shifted Gemini, Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini. So the Gemini is gonna be a little bit more of the focal energy there. Sagittarius is gonna be more of the releasing energy. Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, Venus retrograde in Gemini, Jupiter retrograde Capricorn, Pluto retrograde Capricorn. And Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is going to take us all the way into October, early October. And Pluto went retrograde into Capricorn, I believe like a few, I didn't write it down here, but I believe it was like a few weeks ago. So we've been already experiencing this one a little bit. And I think I talked about it a few weeks ago, where it's just about releasing like that oldest stuff. Pluto is the ruler of the underworld and our deepest, most hidden shadow side, our darker karmas, the darker parts of ourselves, the flaws, as we would say, or our weaknesses, or our triggers, or our traumas. And so Capricorn, once again, that practical energy is that's why I talked about Capricorn earlier, because I was talking about Saturn being in Aquarius. Now I remember Gemini, connecting all the dots. Okay, so Pluto retrograde Capricorn. Yes, so it's just going to be all about letting go of those things. How, during retrogrades, that's a really great idea to do, is reevaluate, reanalyze, reflect, and then release. Relax too, because while we're doing all this, we need to relax while we're receiving. You can't really receive if you're not relaxing, at least a little bit. And it doesn't have to mean our bodies are necessarily physically relaxed, even though I definitely recommend that. And that was a big part of last week's reading, was slow down, relax, let yourself receive. But we can also be in the world and moving and working and doing our thing and still be relaxed, have a relaxed mind and relaxed heart. It could be like you're meditating while you're doing the most, a job that someone else would think, someone right next to you thinks is the most stressful job in the world. If you have control over yourself and your willpower and your body and your mind and your spirit, it could be the most relaxing job to you. And so you could be the most relaxed mindset anywhere you go, honestly, in life, if you are spiritually preparing yourself. So I think that's a big theme between this week and last week. I was working on receiving, relaxing, letting go, letting things come to us as we're experiencing all this reflection and new insights. So we'll go ahead and get started with the tarot reading, all of that said. And we will start with the Psychic Tarot. The Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Holland. I love this one. I've been working with it for the past few weeks, as some of you have been watching already know. And what do these energies want to tell us today? So what does the collective need to hear? Wow. Perfect. Patience and planning. So, as you guys can see here, there's two pillars. These are like the pillars of strength, your foundation. And as you can see, the card is red. That represents root chakra. Root chakra is also about foundations, building our foundation. A lot of people like to focus on just, especially more people in the spiritual community, yogis, like to focus more on like the crown chakra, the ethereal stuff, all that fun astral travel stuff and psychic stuff. But honestly, what yoga says and what spiritual, different spiritual traditions say is that we should always start with the root, because if we go up there and we do all this work up there and we don't have the proper foundation, what we may be experiencing and seeing up here may not actually be based on the truth, or we may not be able to even apply it to reality because we have no idea how to even have a solid foundation in reality. So this makes sense with all this Saturn and Capricorn retrograde energy that we have right now. I literally just said this, right? Is that this is a time where we're going to need to just be patient and reflect and just receive and learn and know that this is planning for something in the future. So while we're receiving and being really patient, while we're receiving all of these lessons and reflections, we are also using this information to start to plan. We're not doing yet, we're not acting on it quite yet, but we're planning moving forward what we're going to do with this information when the time comes. So I think that's beautiful, that's perfect. And it's 7, and so this is actually correlates in the traditional tarot to the 7 of Pentacles. For those of you who are familiar with traditional tarot, the Rider-Waite tarot and whatnot. Okay, I'm feeling drawn to pull another from this deck, maybe a 3-card draw for this. So what else does Spirit want us to know about this 7 of Pentacles energy? Oh, wow. So this is the 5 of Swords energy. This is conflict and defeat. So the Swords is the air element. So all in the mind, which we have Gemini North Node now, we have Venus retrograde in Gemini, and we have Aquarius retrograde and Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. And so we have a lot of air energy going on right now during this retrograde time. And so it makes sense why we would maybe be in our minds and maybe feeling conflicted and feeling like we're kind of defeated. Like, oh man, I thought I had it figured out and I don't have anything figured out. And that's okay. That's a completely valid thing to feel. And sometimes we have to feel that way in order to be ready to move forward and reevaluate how we want to be in the world, reevaluate our patterns and our belief systems, and you know, to how to apply those things moving forward when we get to this planning stage, and then after that the doing stage. So it's okay to feel that. And after this Scorpio full moon, that may be how a lot of people felt too. I actually pulled this card 2 or 3 times in the past week for my own personal readings, and I think I even pulled it in a collective reading that I did with Elisa on Instagram in a live stream. So this is definitely a big energy for the collective right now. A lot of air energy, feeling like, oh man, I thought I had it figured out. I thought I was winning. But really it's time for a redo, or it's time to like shift some things with my thinking patterns. All right. Next card, what else does Spirit want us to know about this 7 of Pentacles energy and this 5 of Swords energy? We love it. Everything's so in alignment. This is the 4 of Swords energy, and it says rest and rejuvenate. Once again, what did I say earlier that these planets all mean, all these transitions, what they represent and what we're being asked to do, as well as this also built on the reading from last week. Last week was the Hanged Woman, and I forget what else I pulled, but it was all aligned. It was all about resting and receiving and basically preparing ourselves for this full moon, and then for this week where all these retrogrades really start to hit us real hard and fast. So once again, rest and rejuvenate. So, you know, for a lot of us in the country, and I know at least here in Florida where I live, things are starting to get back to normal after the quarantine, or back to normal. We're starting to go back to work essentially and go back out into the world, but things are not back to normal because we've all changed, we've all shifted. And these astrological, there's a lot going on once again, culturally, socially, politically, as well as energetically, astrologically, and therefore inwardly. As above, so below, as below, so above. And so, you know, we may be feeling like, some of us, I know I was feeling this early in the week, like a little guilty, like, oh man, like I should start, you know, making moves to get back out there and, you know, try to pick up my normal work pace again. But I actually have been really enjoying the work that I've been doing. I've been busy as heck, you guys, honestly, even though I was laid off from my job temporarily, one of my many jobs, but my main job that I was doing, you know, for a paycheck, but also for my love for the community and the business that I work at. I really love that business, actually. So it was a job that I really loved and enjoyed. But, you know, when this all came about, it you know, made me reanalyze things, and it forced me to have to find other things to do with my time. And I actually ended up realizing that this gave me the time to do things like this, start this YouTube channel, develop my online programs, and catch up on my reading, catch up on my writing, things that are a little more contemplative and a little more calm and a little more inward, but still work. So, you know, this person, like, he's not just laying down, you know, passed out with a empty beer bottle next to him. I mean, it's Taurus season, so it's okay. We did that a little bit. Taurus season's all about enjoying ourselves and being a little gluttonous sometimes. There's a time and place for everything. We're meant to have all the experiences here on earth. But yeah, this is more contemplative, more calm, and it's very, you know, it's very meditative. So, you know, a great time for reading, great time for yoga, a great time for meditation, a great time for journaling, for writing, for going within. And so I think that these are all beautiful energies here. If you guys want to take a screenshot, this would be a great time to do so. Because you might want to go back and look at this and just remind yourself of these themes. That's one reason I love this deck so much, is that it actually has like the key words right there on the cards that are just like, boom, okay, that's what I need to focus on first and foremost, which I think is really cool. So earth and air energy here, very contemplative, obviously very inward, very patient, and very much like getting a handle on things mentally so that we can eventually move forward with all this newness. So if you guys are feeling guilty about, you know, not working or not being as active, or maybe even just feeling anxious about gotta get back out there, or you know, something going on in your personal lives, know that it's all meant to be, and that we're meant to have this intense reflection period right now, because we can only move forward in a bigger and better way, which I think we all can agree that we need in our world right now to improve things to like way beyond where we ever have been, that we've been long overdue for. No matter what your, you know, belief system is, most of us can agree on that. And so that doesn't happen overnight. That happens, or doesn't happen because we tell, you know, these people at the top to do it for us. It happens because every single person takes responsibility. Saturn, Capricorn energy, retrograde energy. We all take responsibility as individuals for our own journeys, and if we all need to redo everything as a society, then what is society made up of? Individuals. Then we need to, as individuals, redo a lot of things within us. And of course, you know, this, once again, as above, so below. So everything that's happening on the above level in society is also happening on the universe level, even higher, for the evolution of to be honest, God and the higher realms and the spiritual realms, they're still evolving too. And as well as the, you know, most intimate realm of personal relationships and the individual self, our individual souls. So we all have to we do all this work on all these levels. So of course it's going to be intense. Of course we're going to have to reevaluate some things. Of course we're going to have to sit with it for a while before we really know what to make of it. So love it. Cool. Let's see what else Spirit wants to tell us. I'm feeling called to use the Mermaid Oracle, because the mermaids are really great with dealing with deep emotions and feelings of the past a lot of times. Mermaids are deep divers of the ethereal sort of fifth dimensional being realms, and so I'm called to use that, and then also the Moonology tarot, because it's just such an astrologically charged week. It makes sense to focus on maybe a little bit more of an astrological deck and perspective. All right. So what does the Mermaid Oracle want to tell us? And the collective, wow, you guys, 3 cards just fell out right here, and I just feel like they're meant for us. So I'm gonna read the 3 cards. Oh, wow, wow, ooh, beautiful. Wow, this is so interesting. I actually pulled each one of these cards throughout the week. Wow. So the first one is Lunar Returns, which if you guys know about Lunar was like this, I think I actually pulled this card a few weeks ago too in a reading when I used this deck. Lunar was this ancient society that's said to be very spiritually, technologically, ecologically advanced, and that it was destroyed because basically of, you know, darker forces on the earth. And so this is about this new beautiful time, like we were talking about earlier, being reborn. You know, we're thousands and thousands of years overdue for this lighter, more natural energy. We think that a lot of us who were born in this time, we just assume that this is the forces of light and dark are balanced, and then that's the way it's always been, and then that's the way it just is and will be. But we actually have been experiencing a time for several thousand years that the darkness has far outweighed the light. And so we are actually moving now into a time where the light has to be a lot more powerful so that they can be, so we can come back to balance, so that the darkness that we experience isn't like insane greed and murder and exploitation and all these awful things. That the darker side of humanity is just, you know, our emotions and, you know, those little fleeting feelings of jealousy and maybe greed, but not you know, and sadness and selfishness and those sorts of things, but not so amplified where it's normal, and the things that are actually more so running our society. And we're supposed to shift into a lighter energy where those things, we recognize that they're part of being human, but that they're not supposed to be the ruling forces of our society, and that they're not supposed to be so amplified and so prevalent. They're supposed to be worked with, and they're supposed to be acknowledged, but they're supposed to be actively worked on, keeping in balance with the light and focusing more on the light and the beautiful things that we can have on this earth as beings of love and beings that are, you know, creations of God and meant for higher things. So I love that. She's also pregnant, which I think is really cool. You know, so it's like right now we're like pregnant with these new hopes and these new realizations and desires and beliefs and thought patterns, and we're gonna get to the point soon at the end of summer into fall where boom, there's the big birth of it all. All right, the next one is yearning, which is so Venus retrograde, you guys. It's not even funny. It says longing for someone, an undesired separation, and pining. And as you can see, it's this mermaid, and she's just like pining over this man, this earthly man that is just like, oh, you know, like he's there. You can tell he's attracted to her, but he's also like, I don't know about this, you know, like this is a little much. And so what this shows is that this might be a time right now where a lot of us are feeling like our love is maybe unrequited, or we may be thinking about past lovers or past relationships where we didn't really have closure, and we're like pining to talk to this person or to be around them again. Or maybe it's the reverse. Maybe we are kind of scared and we're pushing off of a person that is pining for us. And so these are all great things to examine right now, and they're just things that we're meant to feel, or we wouldn't be feeling them. So, you know, just take note and journal, and really write down everything you're feeling. And, you know, it may not be the best time to make sweeping statements on what this all means right now, but just to, you know, look back after a few days or a few weeks and, you know, just kind of see how you're evolving emotionally with your relationship with this to me is just a very romantic relationship, can't really be too much else. So, you know, how you are navigating those types of themes in your life, whether it's someone that you've been separated from for a very long time, months or years, or, you know, maybe a current relationship where you know, because of these new energy shifts, you've just been separated from for a little bit, or feeling, maybe you're together, but you're feeling separated in your heart spaces or in your mind or your communication. Know that this is temporary, and know that it's here for a reason, and just work with it. Journal your feelings. And you guys, I can't stress enough the importance of honest, clear communication. I know as a triple Gemini, that to me comes very like easily, and I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but there are a lot of downfalls of being a Gemini, let me tell you guys, but that's not one of them. And that is something, all signs have their thing to teach, and that is something that Gemini energy is here to teach for sure. Clear, open communication, but also kind communication. Sometimes us Geminis aren't known for that because, like I said, we like the brutal truth, so we think other people want it too. But so remember, that's not always the case. So remember to communicate clearly, honestly, and kindly if this is if you do have the opportunity to do so, and if you would like to do so and you're feeling called to do so. However, if you just want to feel it out a little longer and write your feelings down, or sing them out, or paint them out, whatever you need to do, go ahead and do it. And once again, at the end of this retrograde, or as the Venus retrograde starts to close up, maybe think about actually making a move and making that forward step that you need to make. Or you could do it before. You know, this is all just, once again, suggestions based on the energy, and these energies are all, it could take you a few days to analyze all of this, or it could take you the whole full month and a half. You know, some people it might just be a few days. Some people might take the whole month and a half. Some people, they may even need a few days or weeks after that month and a half. So we're all different. We all have different things in our charts that make us unique and that make us evolve at different paces. And so just do whatever feels right for you, but do know that these energies are all here for a reason and that you're not the only one experiencing them. All right, last one here for the mermaids is Farewell to the Moon. And it's a big full moon behind this beautiful mermaid. And it says, appreciate and enjoy the lunar light and cycles. So to me, this says like it may be time to say farewell to certain, the moon rules our emotions, so it's to certain emotions. So this could be saying farewell. Venus retrogrades are kind of known for that sometimes, of realizing what relationships we need to let go of. But once again, it's a Venus and Gemini retrograde, so it could be very, very, very flitty and changing hour to hour, day to day, so not the best time to make that final decision. So it may be letting go of a relationship, or it may just be letting go of certain feelings and attachments that we already have within us. Saying goodbye to certain emotional attachments that we think that we can't live without. This is the ultimate truth, the ultimate way to be in a relationship. And if someone's not giving me this, then I'm gone, you know? We oftentimes are taught to be that way. And like movies and TV give us such an over-idealized and fake perception of what a relationship is supposed to be like, and we just don't realize that they're actually supposed to be work. You can't show that in an hour-and-a-half movie or a little 30-minute TV show that comes on once a week. It takes real life, day-to-day work, and so you have to be able to put in the work, and part of putting in the work is saying goodbye to old emotional patterns that may not be serving you, and that may not be that big of a deal to change if you just let yourself, you know? I always tell people, you can always go back to the way that you were before. Nothing is ever stopping you from that. If you want to try something else out new to see how it feels, and to tell yourself that you no longer care about this, or that you're going to shift your energy to be more like this, and it works for you, which most of the time it does, great. And if it doesn't, great. Now you know what doesn't work and what you don't want to do and what you don't want to change, and you can go right back. And nothing's stopping you from going right back. So say goodbye to what you need to say goodbye to in whatever form you need to do that. All right, I love it. And then let's end the reading with a Moonology card. And actually, I might even look at this Lunar Farewell to the Moon card a little bit deeper, because the description on it doesn't have too much information. It's number 17, which is, to me, always been a powerful number. All right. These are pretty long, so I'm just going to paraphrase here. This is nice. It says, ask the moon for guidance and know that her wisdom lives in your bones, blood, and cell, in the water of your blood, and you will be free of falsehoods of your human time, and come to know the times and cycles that are old, wise, and powerful. So this is dipping into ancient wisdom, ancient ways of being and doing things, simpler ways, versus the kind of complicated, very, very fragmented way and sort of brainwashed way that we now conduct our lives. in relationships. So that's very interesting. It also says you're now being called to live in deeper partnerships with the cycles of the moon and the sea. So that might be something you guys might want to tap into. I want to go to the beach. For those of you where we live, where the beaches are open, like in Florida, yay. And just getting in touch with the moon. As we go more inward, the moon is our inward planet. The sun is our life-giving, very outward masculine planet. The moon is the inward, yielding, patient, feminine planet. So it might be a good time to get in touch with that, with the moon more, as we go into this more patient, retrograde, reflecting type of time, especially when it comes to our emotions, since the moon rules our emotions and our intuition. I love that. It says this need not be complex. Once again, like I was just saying, is we make things so complex because our lives are really complex right now with everything that we have going on that we've evolved with in the past few decades, 100 years or so. But it's really just simple. And remembering that like most basic, simple way of being human. So like to me, it's like also connecting to the simplicity, the simple ways that our ancestors did things. The simple connection will change you so that your true essence can come forward and be known by the world. Beautiful. I love that. All right, final card, you guys, and then we'll close the reading up. This is the Moonology Oracle deck. And like I said, this is heavily based on astrology, and we will see what spirit, our ancestors, any guides for anyone, any and all guides for everyone who's watching, for the collective. What do we need to know about these lunar energies? I love that I already said, let's do the moon astrology deck last, and then the last mermaid card was all the moon. Perfect segue. Thank you, Spirit. Okay. I was called to pull two cards, you guys. I just did it at the same time, so I did that. And it's the two fire moons. So I think that's kind of cool, is that the mermaids were very watery, and our tarot reading with the psychic oracle earlier was very airy, air and earth, practical and mental energy. And this is very fiery energy. This is like passionate, explosive, very active doer energy. And so we got, I think it's still two full moons. So this is also telling me that the full moon is still affecting a lot of us. So full moon in Leo energy and full moon in Aries energy. So two fiery full moons. Aries and Leo are both fire signs. And then for Aries, I love this. It says a fiery climax approaches, which I love because that just makes sense, like things kind of maybe from this past Scorpio full moon, which is ruled by Mars, and Aries are both ruled by Mars. So, maybe finally reaching a climax to some emotions that you were feeling on the full moon, or some, experiences you had with others coming to a climax this week that were initiated around that full moon time. And then also, I think this is so great, don't let pride get in your way. So literally, I was just saying that too with talking about farewell to the moon. It reminded me intuitively, like what I was receiving when I was downloading. It was just, letting go of old emotional patterns, and even being like, well, I've always done it this way, and these are my idealistic beliefs of how it should be. That is a very prideful thing. And if we really truly love ourselves, and we love our significant others, and we love our families and the people that we are surrounded by, then it's going to take a certain amount of sacrifice of the ego and of pride. There is no other way, you guys. There's not one human on earth that isn't true for. That is a human lesson that is universal. And if you're someone that thinks that you are immune to this, then you probably have to work on this card even more than most people, because that is pride and that is ego. We're all different, and we all communicate differently, we all feel things differently, we all see things differently. And if you're only seeing things and experiencing things from your way and you think that's the only way, that's very prideful and very egoic, and that's not conducive for relationships or for your own personal growth. Wow. Wow. Love it. Let me see if I can pull a few key phrases here from the book, because I just really love what this book has to say. But that's pretty much the energy there, you guys. But yeah, let's pull a few key phrases here just to get a feel for what the creator of this deck intended the card to be. It says, this card may have come to you because you need to end a deadlock that has developed. More love and thoughts for the greater good are the solution to this dilemma. So once again, not just thinking about me, but what's best for the greater good? What's best for the family? What's best for the relationship? Is it to hold on to those feelings and I'm right and you're wrong and yada yada, or is it just to let go and just move forward? It says if you've not been doing this as you would be done by lately, this is the time to find a balance between your own needs and the needs of other people around you. This will help you in all of your relationships. And it says additional meanings for this card. Self-esteem is good. Vanity is not. Everyone is equally as important as you are. Creative urges should be followed. Work some magic. So if you're feeling creative, Leos are very creative. If you're feeling creative, act on that, put it into being. You know, especially with a lot of emotions coming up, art and writing and all of these things, creative endeavors, music, it comes from intense emotions a lot of times. So, you know, that's alchemy. Transform those emotions into something creative and then let it go and move forward. All right. Says this can create a tension between the needs, your needs and the needs of other people. But this is a time to release pride. Cool. Love it. Oh, and then full moon in Aries, and then we're done. Okay, keywords and phrases here. It says being assertive is good, just don't ride roughshod over anyone. I have moon in Aries, and I will tell y'all right now that I definitely can sometimes, rarely, but when I'm pushed far enough, I can definitely be that way. And all lunar Arians, sun Arians too, but I think especially lunar Arians, we can be that way. Sometimes we're just like, well, fuck it. I'm just gonna take it to the max because, like I'm feeling so intense and this is just too much for me and this is ending anyway. Like, fuck this. So don't be like that if you're feeling called to be that way, or be that way and deal with it later and learn the lesson. Do what you gotta do. It says if you're in a tense situation, meditate your way to peace. We had that guidance earlier today as well. It says don't be a baby. So Aries are the baby of the zodiac, so this could be true too. Maybe some of us are being kind of, like, wow, boo-hoo, poor me. Like, don't be that way either. Or once again, be that way, but get over it quick and learn the lesson. And then you need to have more fun. So let's stop being so idealistic, serious, holding on, tense, emotional, sad, whatever it is. Let's bring some light in here, some fire, and fluff things up and warm things up and make things a little bit brighter. So I think that's really great guidance. And see, anything else? Says, whenever you pull this card, it signals that the situation is about to come to a peak. And yes, a peak is coming and it could be fiery. Try not to be focused too much on me, and find a balance between what you want and what others want. So very similar to the Leo but a little bit different. All right, well, I think that those are great messages, you guys. This is a little bit longer reading, but we did have a lot going on astrologically this week, and I did do a little bit longer of a reading, more cards. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Would really appreciate if you guys gave this video a thumbs up, if you subscribe if you haven't already, and if you shared this with friends and family who you feel could benefit. I'll put all the information below to the podcast, my email, my social media accounts. I forgot to do that last time, I'll do it this time. And as well as the decks that I was working with. All right, thank you guys so much. And once again, really appreciate you tuning in. Happy end of Taurus season. Next week we'll be moving into Gemini. So enjoy this last week of Taurus season, relax, reflect, let things, you know, come to the surface, work on your relationships, work on yourself, be patient, and have fun with it all. All right, peace and one love, you guys. Mwah.